So in this podcast and in this video, I'm going to go through with you exactly why it's so difficult for you at the beginning when you're starting to try and get in shape, and why it's difficult for you in terms of actually building a business at the beginning, why that's the hardest point, and also some of the big lessons I've learned this week, which is the difference between having clients and having customers, why I bought a $230,000 supercar, how I turned my business around in a week and regained momentum when things weren't going the way I wanted. And I'm going to go through some details in terms of the importance in terms of tracking numbers. So these are really raw, authentic podcasts I'm doing every single week, just talking top of mind what I'm learning every single week, the lessons I'm learning. So if you're taking value from this, please make sure you take a screenshot of this, either on Instagram Live or on podcast apps, share it to your stories, and I will repost anyone who actually does this as well. So this will get you plenty of free traffic to your Instagram, as I've got 500,000 followers on Instagram. Now, why is it so difficult at the beginning to start a business? Now, if you actually think about it, one of the big problems a lot of people have is actually the hardest part is actually starting the business at the beginning, actually making a decision. And that's where most people procrastinate. And where I actually feel like I felt like I was ruining my life and wasting so much time was when I was working as an estate agent for 6 years as a part of a bigger corporate estate agency. I literally felt like I was wasting my life in a box. Like, I worked from 8 till 6:30 p.m. I barely had time to train. I did that Monday till Saturday, 6 days a week. I had 20 days holiday a year, earned very little realistically, particularly at the beginning. When I first started, I was earning £12,000 a year as a basic salary. So I know what hard looks like. I was working 60, 70 hours a week, commuting 2 hours a day. It was very, very difficult. Now, why am I going into that? Because that hardness and having a very difficult job at the beginning gave me the resilience when I went to go and start my own business to understand what does hard actually look like. And we live in a society where people aren't exposed to like actually doing difficult, hard shit, to the point where people are actually trying to engineer fake hard stuff into their life now. Doing ice baths, doing stupid long challenges of running hundreds of miles in the Arctic, like weird things people are doing every single day right now because we don't have any hardship in our life. But we're actually not willing to go and do the hard things which are really going to change your life. And a great example of that is actually building a business. Now, at the beginning, it is the most difficult. And if you break out of that first phase and you are successful, it will get easier, because it's like you're building pressure against a dam, and you put so much pressure into it, eventually it will burst. The problem is most people aren't willing to do the most important thing, which is understand delayed gratification. Now, people ask me, how have you done all this? How have you been successful? How have you done X, Y, Z? Dude, I hustled for a long period of time. I've done 7,000 Instagram posts. I'll repeat that again, 7,000 Instagram posts. My fitness podcast, if anyone wants to go and check it out, wants to get in shape, The Shredded Show has over 400 podcast episodes. And this is where you understand this, that you create your own luck, and luck is a surface area problem. And the more surface area you can encompass, the easier it is to become lucky. And the more volume of something you do, the more skillful you naturally will become. And this is where most people at the beginning don't understand. They make 5 Instagram posts, they don't blow up, they don't get any clients, they don't get a following, no one cares, and they give up. Dude, I was posting fucking like 2 years, no one cared who I was. No one really still cares, I don't think, anyway. Like, in the grand scheme of things, very few people know who I am. And I appreciate anyone massively who's listening to this or watching this. But the reality for you right now is it's the hardest part at the beginning, because you're afraid, you have a fear mindset. Number 2, you have no resources. You probably don't have a lot of money. Number 3, you have zero leverage. You don't have a big team who can do stuff for you. You don't have a big following, which can be a form of leverage. You don't have resources in terms of money that you can run in ads, which is a form of leverage. And then lastly, the most important one, which is why you struggle. You don't have skills. And no one is born overnight and is great at anything. I am not naturally gifted at anything. People often comment my grammar is terrible. I'm actually incredibly dyslexic. But guess what? I'm a dyslexic multi-millionaire. I had someone give me a load of grief the other day because I misspelled there and whatever. I get there, where, and where. Very, very confused. Like, it is what it is. I'm not great at English. But I'm very good at running operating businesses and great at marketing and good at sales and helping at changing people's lives. So would you rather be an English teacher who can correct my spelling, or would you rather be really, really successful? So the most important thing is understanding that skills come by surrounding yourself with great people, being aware of like what type of content you're taking in, and like taking in great content. So I'm making this content right now to help the younger version of me, to help me who was in the estate agents 5 to 7 years ago. The best thing you need to do right now is focusing on learning high income skills, and the skills in terms of how to create traffic, how to solve a problem for someone, how to actually sell, and then copywriting skills. The complicated fancy stuff you can figure out as you go on later on. You don't need the complex shit. You need to keep things very, very basics at the beginning. And why so many people get overwhelmed at the start when it comes to building a business, getting in great shape, is they overcomplicate the process too much. And the reality is this. So Alex Hormozi says, simple scales, fancy fails. And one of my favorite sayings, and I think this applies to a lot of things in life, success is a game of simplification, not multiplication. Doing more different things really badly does not make you successful. Doing one thing phenomenally well, which is the right thing to do, will make you very successful. And this is where you need to reprogram your brain to make sure if you're a beginner and you're looking to try and set up a business, you want to get in great shape, whatever your aspiration is in life, the quickest way that I've done this is I've found the person who has done the thing I wanted to do. I've absorbed all of their content, like everything. Like when I first saw Alex Hormozi's podcast maybe 3 years ago, I probably listened to 300 episodes in maybe 6 weeks, like literally everything. When I first was driving around in Surrey in my Mercedes as an estate agent, I binged through every Gary Vaynerchuk podcast, every Grant Cardone podcast, and they were like my fucking father figures. They like ingrained my thought process in my head in terms of business making decisions, marketing decisions, and really my thought process in terms of like a long-term outlook. So you have all these free resources available to you right now. And these resources are something people didn't have 30, 40, 50 years ago. And if you're bitching and moaning that it's hard now, dude, like before the iPhone, if you wanted to start a business, you'd have to take out a massive loan. You'd then have to hire a premises, take on a load of debt, lease like a shop or a restaurant or a gym. It's very, very, very difficult. And the profit margins on the average business in the United States, brick and mortar, is 9%. The profit margins on online coaching businesses can be anywhere from 80% down to 50%. And if it's a small business, it can be like 95%. And this is the reality right now, that it's very difficult to start an online business, yes. However, it can be done. And the hardest part is the starting point. And when you actually get momentum, it then gets easier. And this is why it gets easier with time, because you have more skills, you have more of a reputation, all the stuff you've done before, the last months, years, everything like that compounds for you. So the number one thing that I regret is I didn't start sooner. I didn't take action on creating the life I wanted sooner. I didn't actually put one foot in front of the other because I was throttled by fear. I was afraid. I was afraid of judgment. I was afraid of being different. I was afraid of standing out. And if you want to be exceptional, you will have to understand that you will become the exception. And for a period of time, I was very lonely in my life building my business because I had differentiated myself from my friendship group at the time who just wanted to get drunk and play video games and play rugby or whatever. And I wasn't going out and I wasn't doing all the other stuff everyone else was. And people would literally say to my partner at the time, like, what's wrong with Charlie? Why do you not hang out with us? Because I was on a mission. I had something I wanted to achieve. And when people say that you've changed, it's not that you've changed, you've outgrown the other people around you. And this is an important thing you have to understand, that you're going to have a period of life where you might be slightly lonely because you're too successful or have a different mindset for the people you hang around. But the people who are ahead of you want to be with and you want to be friends with, you want to have in your network, you're not successful enough to be associated with yet. And that's where you have to understand that there's a point of grinding to get yourself to that point, and also the value in terms of being parts of like masterminds and networking groups and things like 7-figure scaling systems and Fit Pro launch systems. And like one of my favorite things is really just helping people and letting their eyes open to see what can be done. Because the biggest bottleneck we have, myself included, is in our fucking brain right now. You are the person holding you back. If you look in the mirror and you look at yourself, you will know there's things you should be doing you're not doing. That includes myself. And that is why people lack confidence. So for you to be successful, to get to where you want to be, you have to hold true to the promises you make to yourself. I'm filming this on a Sunday, and one of the best things I say for everyone on a Sunday is plan your week. Literally, I've gone through this morning, what meetings do I have? What do I need to say? What are the key things I need to get done this week? Set yourself up for success. It is very, very simple. Now, one of the next things I want to talk about is the difference between clients and customers. Now, I know a lot of people in online industries who have a churn and burn model. So their plan is that they basically pile those people in front end of their business. They just sell them some bullshit, whether it's like fitness program, business program to grow their business, whatever it is, and they don't really care and they just want to get the next person. This is not a good business model. Firstly, because you are going to be losing horrendous amounts of money in terms of people wanting to get refunds, payment disputes, and ruining your reputation. Now, when it comes to your reputation and clients actually referring people and actually liking what you do, I would give this analogy. If your program is great and you get people great results and you change their life, it's like having the wind in your sails. You're getting pushed along just from the wind because you're so good at what you do. But if your program and your product is shit and you don't actually really help people, it's like going into a headwind. Now, what would you prefer? Would you rather have the wind in your sails, or would you prefer to have a headwind? And I know a lot of people going into headwind because they don't know what they're doing, they don't know how to service their clients, and they don't know how to really give great results. Now, if you have someone who just buys a product from you once, that's a customer. Now, what I want is clients. I want people who I can help for 3 to 5 to 10 years, who I can help get in great shape and achieve everything they want over the next 5 to 10 years, who I can help them build the business of their dreams that gives them what I have, which is time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom. And these are the core aspects we have to think about with that. The difference between a customer is it's a one-time purchase and they buy and they never fucking come back. The second thing is you want a client who you can help for a long period of time. And I've taken a fitness business all the way up to $400,000 a month. I can get anyone else to that point because I've actually done it. And that's why a teacher should never stand at the front of the class who hasn't actually done the thing. And this is why there's so many people struggling right now. Whether it's getting in shape because they've got a trainer who fucking doesn't even look like he lifts, or they've got someone who's trying to help them with their business who actually hasn't got a successful business or hasn't done the exact thing they want to do. Now, the reality in terms of this is that it's very easy for me to help people to build their business. And one of my favorite passion projects is helping people in person. I'm not going to lie, I actually really hate Zoom calls, which is why we've brought in as part of 7-Figure Scaling Systems, as well as 3 huge mastermind events a year. We're doing monthly workshops where literally all of our clients can come and it's literally 3 hours. We'll break down everyone's problems, brainstorm, I'll teach stuff in person and literally just like ad hoc off the top of my head. And I can do that because there is no single question any person can ask me when it comes to running an online fitness business or any online marketing business that I don't know. Because I've done this for 7 to 8 years. I put every single ounce of my fucking soul into this, and you can hear in the conviction of my voice when I say that, so that I have become the greatest version of myself to date. I'm focusing on continuing to learn to become better. I've already invested and hired another coach to help me in my own business skills, who I'm paying $10,000 a month to. I spent 4 hours watching training videos, learning new stuff today. It's Sunday morning at 11:32 a.m. And this just gives an indication in terms of like, I will do whatever it takes to be the best at what I can, that I do, so I can help more people than anyone else. And the reality with that is that when you're actually like behind someone and you're like slipstream behind someone like me who's fucking leading the way, I will know the new shit that you need to solve your problem. I will know the problem that you have before it even comes up. And this is why if life for me is a game of conquest. It's a bit like Command and Conquer of how can I go and get more information? Can I get more land grabs? And how can I take over the information so I can get myself to the next level and then help other people do the same thing? Because I understand what it feels like to be frustrated in life. From 20 to 27, I felt like a failure, and I don't want other people to feel like that. Now, next thing I want to go into is in terms of why I bought a $230,000 supercar this week. Now, I haven't posted this anywhere. I posted it on social media. I haven't posted it on Facebook. I haven't told anyone about this. So one of the reasons I've done this, and I put some in my stories on Instagram talking about this yesterday, is you will see that nowadays we live in a world where 99.9% of people want external validation. They want validation from other people that they're good. I'm very different to that. I want internal validation. I want validation from myself that I'm worthy and I am good enough, because I set the standards so high of what I want to achieve that it will continue to push me and continue to drive me. So I seek validation from Charlie in 10 years' time, who's looking back, thinking like, fuck, he went in, he did it. He did what he wanted to do. He bought the dream car he always wanted. He built the business he wanted. He got the time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom he wanted, all because he did the work and he never gave up. And my superpower is being relentless. And when you are relentless and you put in thousands and thousands of days back to back of learning and working on your craft, you get better. When you make hundreds and thousands of pieces of content, you get better. You naturally will end up with a compound effect where the wind is in your sails. And the reason I bought this car is because it gives me a reminder that I've fucking done it. I've done $11 million in online sales as a former failed personal trainer and a real estate agent. And secondly, it gives me joy every day when I get it and I fucking razz it around and it sounds fun. And the reason I haven't posted anywhere on social media is because I don't really care what anyone else thinks. And what you'll see the difference between me and other people is that other people seek external validation, showing the fancy things they have every day. Like I've got fucking $50,000 watch. I'm not even wearing a watch. I'm wearing some free band right now. Like I don't care. This is a Zara t-shirt. The reality is that you'll see a lot of people post their car every single day over and over and over again because they're trying to prove a point. The only point you should have to prove is not to other people, it's to yourself. Because I said earlier on in this podcast, the only person who's holding you back right now in your life is the person looking you back in the mirror. And that's where you have to understand that business is very, very difficult. Business is going to be difficult. You are going to have problems, but problems will only be big if you're a small person. So your job is to constantly level up and become a better person, have a better mindset, become a better entrepreneur with more skills, have a better network, have more money and resources. And these are things that will compound for you and help you to get to the next level. And I've had a bit of a phase in our business the last few weeks. We've had a lot of problems with random things going wrong. And I've been fucking like DEFCON-zoed, like dialed in for like 3 weeks, every day. Yesterday was the first day I probably took 4 or 5 hours off in maybe 3 weeks to go to the beach and do what I want. I'm already successful. But what do I understand? That when it's hard, you need to lean in. And one of the best things you need to do is get aggressive. And if you don't understand why, open your iPhone right now and Google aggressive and see what the meaning is. Because this is where you can actually act in a forceful and bruteful way in your business. And there's a time for leverage and there's a time for literally like blunt force violence of just pushing a business and pushing a business and pushing a business, pushing your team, pushing your content, pushing everything to the max. And every person who's watching this, listening to this, has the capability to do it. You just don't realize it because you don't know what hard looks like and you don't understand. You have these deep layers of ability within your mind that you haven't unlocked yet. For you to then be able to get to that point is going to be putting them in a progression of learning the right skills, surrounding yourself with the right people, having the right networks, and that will get you there. And the last thing I want to finish this podcast on is one of the big things I've realized in my business is for me to get to exactly where I want to be with the most efficient manner possible is you need to A, identify the point of constraint, and then B, the actual importance of tracking numbers. My favorite thing and my gift is marketing. I try and out-market problems in business when in reality, marketing is not necessarily the issue, which is holding us back. So the most important thing you need if you want to get to the next level in your business is actually track all of your numbers. Like whether it's how many calls you're booking, how much money you're making, your closing rates, your CAC cost per acquisition, whether it's your lifetime value of customers. If you don't know these things, these are important things to know. These are the things that are going to hold you back and make you play small. And the one thing that I've always wanted to do is play big. Hence why we've got two Comma Club awards on the wall behind me. We have a $10 million 10x $10 million Comma Club award coming very soon as well. And this is because I've always wanted to go big. And the reality is, it actually is easier the bigger your business gets. Because as I said at the start of this podcast, you have more resources, you have a bigger team, you have better skills. So one thing I want you to do from this podcast is take action, believe in yourself. And if you're struggling right now at the beginning of your process, this is the hardest part it will ever be. I promise you that from the bottom of my heart, and it will get easier. And if you're partway into your business and you're finding it very difficult, this is completely normal. There will be phases and cycles. There are going to be feast and famine phases. And what I do when I go into a famine phase or something that's difficult, I hire someone to help me, which is why I hired someone this week who I'm paying $10,000 a month to. Now, what I would suggest you do listening to this is identify what the problem is you have, what you need to solve it, and I hope you took a ton of value from this. If you please make sure you like and share, subscribe to the podcast. If you also want, in terms of actually getting more publicity in social media, if you take a screenshot of this podcast on Spotify podcast or on Instagram, if you share it on your stories, I will repost this. I'm putting a lot more authentic content out, which is super raw, not planned, just to give you the value of what I learn every single week. Much love to everyone, and create the life of your dreams.